Hello students, welcome to the chapter on flow of control. This is the part 4 of this particular chapter and today we are going to discuss about iteration statements in Python, and out of iteration statements basically we'll be focused on the loops. Those are for loops and while loops. I hope that you have watched the other parts of this chapter. If not, I have given all the links in the description. You can just check out the description box for the same. So let's begin with the topic for the day, which is iteration statements in Python. So at first we need to understand the meaning of the word iteration. Iteration means something which is repetitive in nature. So what are iteration statements? So what happens in this case? In this case, a statement or a group of statements are repeated depending upon a condition. So in case of iterative statements, there will be some conditions or there will be certain range of values, and depending upon the condition or the range of values, a group of statements will be executed. The statements are repeated until the condition evaluates to true, and it stops once the condition evaluates to false. Now there will be some conditions in case of iteration statements. If the condition evaluates to true, then what happens? The set of statements within that particular block will be executed, and if the condition evaluates to false, then those set of statements are ignored. Let's try to understand it with the help of a flowchart. Also, I would like to say that iterative flow controls, the statements within the iterative flow controls, these are also known as looping statements. So let's try to understand it with the help of a flowchart. So what we will have in case of iterative flow control, we will basically be having a condition. Now the condition may be true, the condition may also be false. If the condition is true, then a set of statements are executed within that block. Okay, now after the set of statements within the block are executed, then again the condition is checked if the condition is still true or not. If the condition is still true, then again this set of statements will be executed. Basically, this set of statements will be executed till the condition becomes true, and after a certain set of statements are executed, again the condition is checked. Now a time will come when the condition will become false. As the condition becomes false, what will happen? It will exit from the loop when the condition becomes false, and no longer the statements within the condition will be executed. Remember, two cases: if the condition is true, the statements within that condition will be executed, and after the end of the statement the condition is checked again. If it is still true, then again those set of statements will be repeated, and one point will come when the condition will become false. As the condition becomes false, the loop will be exited. Now we need to know about a certain category of statements before trying to understand about iterative statements practically. So the first type of function that we need to know is the range function in Python. So what is range function? This function is used in Python to generate a list of a sequence type. Now if you want to generate a list of a particular sequence, then what you will do? Then you will basically be using the range function. Okay, so this function is used in Python to generate a list of a particular sequence type. What is the syntax for range function? The syntax is range, lower limit, comma, upper limit. You will be understanding better when we go for the practical part. In this video only we will go for the practical part, so keep following. Now range, the syntax is range, lower limit, comma, upper limit. Here L denotes the lower limit and U denotes the upper limit. The condition is that the lower limit and upper limit, both of these must be integers. So what does the range function does? The range function will generate a list of integers from lower limit to upper limit minus 1. That means if I write range 2, 10, then the set of integers will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. That means one less than the upper limit will be executed. For example, if I write range 0, 6, it will generate the list of values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. If I write range 6, 0, it will generate an empty list. Empty list, why? Because it cannot move in the backward direction naturally. It will always try to move in the forward direction. If I write range minus 6 comma minus 1, this is also possible. What will be the set of values in this case? The set of values will be minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3 and minus 2. If I write range 5, it will generate the list of values 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now let's go and try to implement it in Python. Now if I want to see the list of values within a range, if I directly write range 0, 6, it will not give you an output, but if you want to see the range of values that will be accepted, then you have to put it within the list function. So if I write list range 0, 6, then it will give you the list of values which will come within this range, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Remember, 0 is the lower limit, 6 is the upper limit, and it always generates a value 1 less than the upper limit. If I write list range 6, 0, that means I am trying to move in the backward direction, but this is not possible in the general case. It is possible if I use the step value, but if I do not use any step value, then this particular thing is not possible. If I can even use negative values also. If I write minus 6, minus 2, then I'll get the values minus 6, minus 5, minus 4 and minus 3. So basically, what is the use of range function? Range function is used to generate a list of values. Let's move ahead. Now the second case of range function is range with step value. Sometimes we might want to skip certain values in between. If we want to skip certain values in between, then we will take the help of step value. So this function is used in Python to generate a list of a sequence type by taking step value into account. Okay, so if you want to take the step value, when is the step value used? Step value is used if you want to skip certain values while dealing with the range function. What is the syntax of this? The syntax is range, lower limit, upper limit, step. I'll try to explain you with the help of some examples. So L denotes lower limit, as in the previous case, U denotes the upper limit and step denotes the step value. That means by what factor will it skip. For example, if I write range 1, 10, 2, here 2 is the step value, therefore 1 gap will be there in between. That means the list of values to be generated are 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Why there is a gap of 1 in between? Because here we have used the step value as 2. If I write 9, 3, minus 1, here I am trying to move in the backward direction, but it is possible in this case because you have used the step value as minus 1. So the list of possible values will be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4. Similarly, if I write range 10, 1, it will generate 10, 1, minus 2, it will generate the values 10, 8, 6, 4 and 2. Remember, you can move backward also if you are using a negative step value. Okay, so now let's try to implement it in Python programming language. So if I write list range 1, 10, 2, here 2 is the step value, therefore 1 gap will be there after each number. So the possible values are 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. We can even move backward if I write like this way, like list range 10, 1, minus 2. Then it will generate the list of values 10, 8, 6, 4 and 2. Let's move ahead with the next concept, which is the in operator in Python. Now what is the usefulness of in operator? In operator is used to check whether a particular value is contained in a sequence or not. Okay, so this operator is basically checks whether the value that you want to search is present in your sequence or not. It returns true if a value is contained in a sequence, false otherwise. If the value is present in the sequence, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Let's see what's the syntax of the in operator. The syntax is value in the sequence will give as in the list format separated by commas. Now if I write 5 in 8, 4, 8, 3, 4, 5 and 21. Now is 5 present in the list? Yes, 5 is present in the list. Therefore, it will give you the output as true. If I write 55 in 8, 3, 4, 5 and 21. Is 55 present in the given list? No, 55 is not present in the given list. So it will give you the result as false. It works with strings and tuples also, not just with integers. If I write ji in Abhijit, is the string ji present in the string Abhijit? Yes, ji is present in the string Abhijit. Therefore, it will generate the result as true. Similarly, if I write lm in Abhijit, the string lm is not present together in the string Abhijit. Therefore, it will generate the result as false. If I use a tuple here, if I write 5 in 8, 3, 4, 5 and 21, here I have used a tuple. How can you come to know that I have used a tuple? Because I have used the first bracket in this case. Therefore, I'll get the result as how much? I'll get the result as true. Let's quickly implement it in the Python programming language. So if I want to check if 5 is present in a particular list, I'll give 5 in. Now let's say the list of values are these. Okay. Now is 5 present in this list? Yes, 5 is present in this list. Therefore, I am getting true. If I write 55 in, let's say 9, 12, 5, 22, then it will generate false. Why? Because 55 is not present in this particular list. It is also possible to check for tuples and strings also. Let me just show you with string. If I write ji in Abhijit, now here you can see that the string ji is present within the string Abhijit. Therefore, it will generate the result as true. If I just write, let's say ZH, it will generate false because ZH is not present together in the string Abhijit. Okay. Now let's see the reverse operator of the in operator, which is the not in operator in Python. The not in operator is used to check whether a particular value is not contained in a sequence or not. It will do the exact opposite of the in operator. It will check whether a particular value is not contained in a sequence or not. If it is not contained, it will return true, and if it is contained in the sequence, then it will return false. What is the syntax? The syntax is value not in a particular list. For example, if I write 5 not in 8, 3, 4, 5 and 21, here 5 is present in this particular sequence, therefore it will return you false. If I write 55 not in 8, 3, 4, 5 and 21, yes, 55 is not present in the list. So if a value is not present in the given list, then it will return the result as true. It also works with strings and tuples. For example, if I write ji in not in Abhijit, ji is present in the string Abhijit, therefore it will return false. If I write 5 not in the given tuple, 5 is present in the tuple, therefore it will return false. That means if a particular value is present in the list or tuple or string, then it will return false. If it is not present, only in those cases it will return true. For example, if I write 5 not in, let's say 3, 2, 6, 5, then it will return false because 5 is present in the sequence. Here, if something is present in the sequence, then it will return false. Similarly, if I write ZH in Abhijit, ZH is not present in Abhijit, therefore it will return what? Oh, sorry, I have to give not in. ZH not in Abhijit, yes, ZH is not present in the string Abhijit. Therefore, as I press the enter key, I am getting the result as true here. Okay, that's about the in and the not in operator. Now, till now we have learned about three concepts: the concept of range, in and not in. Now we are ready to go for the looping concepts. Now, before that, let us discuss the categories of loop. There are basically two categories. The first category is the counting loops. What are counting loops? So the type of loops that repeat for a certain number of times are called counting loops. Okay, so if a loop repeat for a particular number of time, then it is known as counting loop. For example, for loop is a category of loop which falls under counting loops. Second category of loop are the conditional loop. This type of loop repeats based upon a particular condition. If the condition is true, then a particular group of statements are repeated. The statements are repeated until the condition becomes true again and again. Don't worry, I'll explain all this with the help of some practical Python code after a few minutes. Now, example of conditional loop is the while loop. So let's discuss about this categories of loops. So the first category of loop is the for loop. This type of loop is designed to process the items of a sequence. Now, if you have some values in a particular sequence, for processing those items in a sequence, we use the category of loop known as for loop. What is the syntax for loop? The syntax is for variable in sequence, then we'll write statement 1, statement 2 up to statement n. Okay. Now let us try to understand for loop with the help of an example. Now, when are looping statements used? Looping statements are basically used when we want to repeat a set of statements for a given number of times. Let's say I want you to print your name 5 times. So how you will write? You will just write print, then your name. Let's say your name is Alice. You will write the print statement how many times? You will write the print statement 5 times. Okay, I'll write print Alice. Print Alice. As you can see, it is taking a lot of time unnecessarily. Why unnecessarily? Because I am doing the same tasks again and again. Now, if you are doing same tasks again and again, then you can put it under automation. So if I run, what I'll get that the name is printed 5 times. Now, instead of doing this, I can just do it in only 2 lines. How to do it? Just use the concept of for loops. Let's see the syntax of for loop. What is the syntax? The syntax is for variable in sequence. So we'll give any variable for, let's say I'll give the variable I in, I'll give range. Let's say I want to print my name 5 times. I'll give range 0, 5. Let's write something here. Let's write a string called hi. If I just write hi here, and if I just run it, you will see that the word hi has come 5 times. Now the question is how this particular code is working. Now let's try to see how this particular code is working just with 2 lines. So for that, I'll just go to my board and I'll just see how this particular code is working. So my code is for I in range 0, 5. Here I have written print hi. Okay. Now here we'll see what does this particular statement means. Range 0, 5. Now as we have already seen, range 0, 5 will generate the list 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. What will the in operator do? In operator will check the list of values. Okay. Now what is written here? For I in range 0, 5. That means at first I will take the value as 0 and it will come inside the loop. This is the statement which is present inside the loop. Let's say we have an output screen here. Let's say this is the output screen. Now in the output screen, what will be written? Hi. After that, I will take the next value which is 1 and it will come inside the loop. What is written inside the loop? Hi is written. So hi will be printed here. Then this particular variable I will take the next value which is 2. Therefore, and it will come inside the loop and it will print hi. Then it will take the value as 3. Then again it will come inside the loop and it will print whatever is there within that particular block. Hi is there, therefore hi will be printed. Then finally I will take the value as 4. Then again it will come inside the loop and what is present here? Hi is present here. So hi will be displayed here. Now you can see the entire values of I within the range is being used up. As it is used up, it will come out of the loop. Therefore, you are seeing that the string hi is being displayed 5 times. Now for confirming that it will come out of the loop after printing 5 times, let us do one thing here. So here, as I have run this code, I've got the answer as the string hi has been displayed 5 times. Now how to verify that after displaying it for 5 times it will come out of the loop? For that, what we will do, we can just break this particular block and write something here. We can write end. Okay, we can just write any string here, and if I just run it, you will see that after writing for the 5th time hi, it has come as end. Because why it has run for 5 times? Because I've used range 0, 5. Range 0, 5 means what will be the possible values? The possible values will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this is the working of the for loop. We will see many more examples with the for loop, but this part is intended basically to give you a brief idea about the working of all the categories of loops. Now let us go to the next category of loop, which is the while loop. What is while loop? While loop is a conditional loop. What it does, it repeats the instruction as long as a condition remains true. Now once the condition becomes false, this loop will not execute. After a while loop is executed, for an iteration, the condition is tested again. Okay, so at first there will be a condition. If the condition is fulfilled, it will come inside the loop, and inside the loop, after running those statements, again the condition is tested. If the condition is true again, then again those set of statements will be executed. I'll explain it to you in a better way with the help of some practical Python codes. The loop ends when the condition evaluates to false. A time comes when the condition evaluates to false. Whenever the condition evaluates to false, the loop will terminate. What is the syntax for while loop? The syntax is this: initialization value, while condition, then we'll have a group of statements, and finally we have a update condition. So for understanding it better, let us go through a particular Python code. Now if I ask you to add two numbers using Python, I hope all of you know about this. If not, you can just check out my previous videos I have shown you. So for that, I can just use the input, int input. Let's receive the numbers. Let's say I'll receive the first number at the beginning, enter the first number. Okay, then I'll receive the second number. Let's just write it in this manner: int input, enter the second number. Now let's take another variable z, and I'll write z equals to x plus y. Very simple. Now I'll just display the sum. Print sum is comma z. I'll just save it and run it. As I run it, what it is asking me? It is asking me enter the first number. Let's say I'll give 5. Then enter the second number, let's say I'll give 2, and then it is displaying me the result that it is sum is 7. If I want to run it again, then again I have to, if I want to execute it again, then I have to again press on the run button. Then again it will ask me enter the first number. Let's say this time I write 2 as the first number. Let's say I'll give 9 as the second number. It is giving me the sum as 11. If I want to run again, then again I have to press the run button. But what we can do, we can make this asking whether the user wants to run again or not, we can do it automatically using while loop. For that, let us go through the syntax. The syntax says that we'll have a initialization value. So just before this program, we'll give a initialization value. Let's say I'll give ans equals to y. Okay, you will understand what is meant by the initialization value. Initialization value means the very first value of the loop. After that, I'll write while ans, while condition. The syntax says that now I have to give while and then I have to give the condition. Now what is the condition that we will give? We will give while ans equals to small y or ans equals to capital Y. That means until this condition is true, then this particular lines of code will be executed. So what I'll do, I'll just put it within a block. How to put it within a block? I have just given a tab here so that everything is maintained within the same indentation level. Now after that, at the end, if I just look at the end of the syntax, what is present there? The update condition is present over here. So what we'll write here? We'll write the update condition here. That means here we will ask the user if the user wants to run the program again or not. Now in what variable have we taken the initialization condition? Initialization condition we have taken in the variable ans. So let's write ans equals to, as it is a string, I'll just take input. Do you want to run the program again? Let us just ask this to the user, and I'll just give a prompt like y/n. Okay, and we are done here. This is known as the update condition. Now let me run it. It is asking me enter the first number, I'll give 2. Enter the second number, let's say I'll give 7. It is giving me sum is 9. After that, it is asking me, do you want to run the program again? I have to press Y or N. If I press Y, then again this particular lines of code will be executed. Then it is asking me the first number again. This is without terminating the program. It is going on running continuously. Let's give the first number as 1. Let's give the second number as 7. It is giving me the sum as 8. After that, it is asking me again, do you want to run the program again? Yes or no. Let's say I press N here. So it will terminate the program and it will not run the program again. Now let us try to understand how while loop is working. So for that, let me just take you through the board. At first, what we had ans equals to y. Okay, that means answer we have initialized to y. What is this? This is the initialization. Okay, initialization means this is the first value. After that, what we have, if ans equals to y or ans equals to capital Y. Why I have given small y or capital Y? Because at the prompt someone might give capital Y also, so that it runs even up for capital Y. Therefore I have used the OR operator here. Now what is ans? Ans is y. That means the condition is true or false. The condition is true. Since the condition is true, this set of statements will be executed. So it is asking me the first number. Enter the first number. Let's say I'll give the first number as 3. Then it will ask me to enter the second number. Let's say I'll give the second number as 2. Then what is being done? Z equals to x plus y. X is 3, y is 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 is stored in the variable z, and what will be displayed here? Print sum is z. So what I'll get? Sum is z. What is z? Z means 5. After that, what it is asking me, do you want to run again? Because I have used the input statement here. So what will come in the output screen? It will come, do you want to run again? Yes oblique no. If I press Y, then what will happen? It will, no matter I press Y or N, it will go and check the condition again. Now if I press Y, the condition is true even now, therefore this set of statements will run again. In the next run, also after running these codes, it will again ask whether I want to run the code again or not. If I press Y here again, then again this condition will become true and it will continue running till you keep on pressing Y. Now the moment you press N or any other key, then this condition will become false, and once this condition becomes false, the loop will be terminated. Here ans equals to y, this is the initialization value. This particular part, ans equals to y or ans equals to capital Y, this is the condition. And this particular line, ans equals to input, do you want to run again? This is known as the update condition. This is how a while loop works. It will take a initialization value and it will get inside the loop. After that, at the end, it will ask if you want to run again. Then if you want to run again, if you press Y, then it will keep on running again and again. This is how while loop works. We will see many more examples related to these loops in the upcoming part. I hope that this session was useful. Thank you very much.